Hi, hello, how there. In today's tutorial, we will be talking about how to remove a green screen using the software Adobe Premiere Pro version 2020. I would like to run through some essentials hence before you go into your post-production, which means by the time you are on production set, the things you ought to do to have a good production so that you don't have issues with your post-production. Number one, you have to ensure adequate length of the green screen. That means it has to cover your subject. If your subject will have to raise his hand, jump up, you have to make sure that your green screen covers the entire expected place of activity. Number two, you have to ensure adequate distance between the screen and the subject. It's always advisable that you have 6 feet. That means the screen and the subject has to have a bit of distance between them. This will actually help us with the third point, which is how you light your subject and your green screen. Professionally, the light that should light up your green screen should actually be different from the one you will use to light up your subject. But however, in places whereby you actually don't have adequate, you could use the same light. Another is ensure you use a matching background. Another thing is you want to talk with your subject to make sure he or she puts on cloths that are actually solid. And finally, you might want to grade up your video. Once you import your footage, I prefer to always put my video on video track 2, knowing fully that definitely video track 1 will actually be used for the post screen that will actually be below. So I'll go to my effects, and under effects you can just go to type in ultra, or you just go through the video effects, which is actually under video effects. Then you go to keying, and the last effect is the ultra key. You drop the ultra key on your video. Once you drop the ultra key on your video, then you come to the effects, whereby you could actually tweak the kind of effects that you want therein. So under your effects in ultra key, then you just use your eyedropper. Once you click on it on your eyedropper is looking for the kind of key you actually want it to remove from the screen. Hence, before you do that, make sure you actually click on the video you want, such that you are so sure that you are actually referring to this particular video. Then come to somewhere very close to your subject and just click. Immediately you click, the green screen disappears, and of course you have this black behind it. So for now, I'll prefer to go back into my project, and I can bring in a background which I've downloaded already. So we'll put it behind it. Then of course we can go into effects under scale, so we can just scale up this background. So if we are okay with this background, then of course we can click back on the video and we go back to tweak the effects of this. Come into composite, come to alpha channel. Alpha channel is actually a channel that turns your video into black and white. Then under the settings, come change the default to aggressive. When you have aggressive, then you can come to color mates. Then of course you can work with all of these, which means if you don't even know what they do, all you're trying to do is to get the best of black to be black and to get the best of white to be white. So you can always tweak this. So which means if you leave it here at 100%, this will be bad compared to when you have it somewhere around 38, or probably we'll drop it down. Okay, you see, if we drop it down more, it's getting to have a crush on our background on 14. If we go too high, is also coming on our image. So which means we'll find a balance in between the two. Let's say I do with 37. Then for my highlight, I could drop my highlight to, let's say, 2. For my shadow, I could also tweak this. If it doesn't have any difference, then I can know what to do. You check your video, you see that the difference is getting clearer, it's getting neater. Then of course you can also go into your mates cleanup. Then of course you could choke. Okay, sorry, we'll go back to our alpha channel. Then you could choke. When you choke on 100, it looks like it's trimming the sides of the images. So you don't want to trim the side of the image too much. So let's just say we choke for, let's say, around 33. Like I said, you can always play around with all of these figures for you to know what it looks like. Then you come back to composite, you look at the difference. If it's okay with you, then of course you can also continue. You go to soften. Soften will actually help you soften the edges. Like you can see, I'm on 00 here. If you check the edges are very sharp. Then if I go to 100, you can see it's looking blurry. So you don't want the edges to look blurry, you don't want it to look over sharp. So I will encourage you to do something between 10 and 20, so based on the kind of image that you have. So I think I will do 12 for here. Then let's go see what our composition looks like. I think this is looking better. I made mention of something while I was telling you the essential points that you need to put into use. What we have in here looks like it's overexposed. So I think what we can do is go back into our effects and go for fast color corrector. Then we can add fast color corrector, which will actually allow us to tweak the values of the color. I believe its saturation is too high, so I want to drop its saturation a little bit. It's getting better on 80 for me. Then of course you can look into some other stuff. So you want white to be white, so I think this is okay for us. You can check this, it clips too much. Then of course you might want to just add a little bit to it, helping the black level. If you actually want to reset, you can just come in here and reset the parameters for you to see the difference. And if that is okay with you, if also you want to see what difference this fast color has added, then of course you can toggle between this and see the difference. So which means we don't have it too saturated like it used to be. If you light the subject differently like I advised from the screen, you wouldn't have had all of this. You can also have a motion background behind it. You can have any image, any stuff you prefer behind it. And when you're done, of course, you can always mark your image sequence to whatever you want it. Then you just render into out. And by the time you are done, your video should look a bit cooler and better. For other tutorials, you can always check on the YouTube channel. And until next time, thank you.